In the golden sands of Sudan, far to the south of Egypt's famous pyramids, stand monuments that few people outside the region have ever seen. Rising steeply against the desert horizon, their angles sharper, their structures smaller but more numerous, these are the pyramids of Nubia. There are more than 200 of them, scattered across the ancient cities of Meroë, Napata, and Nuri. To most of the world, when we hear the word pyramid, we think of Egypt, the Great Pyramid of Khufu, the Sphinx at Giza, the mighty pharaohs of the Nile. But in truth, there are more pyramids in Sudan than in Egypt. They belong to the Kingdom of Kush, a civilization that thrived for centuries, sometimes rivaling and even ruling Egypt itself. The Nubian pyramids are different. Their proportions are sharper, their sides steeper, and their history more mysterious. Who built them? Why so many? And why, unlike the Great Pyramids of Giza, do they remain almost forgotten by the outside world? The story begins with the Kingdom of Kush. Around 1000 BC, as Egypt's new kingdom declined, Kush rose in the fertile lands around the confluence of the White and Blue Nile. Its first great capital was Napata, near the sacred mountain of Jebel Barkal. Kushite kings adopted many traditions from Egypt, including hieroglyphic writing, art styles, and burial customs. But they also developed their own unique identity, blending influences from both Africa and the Mediterranean world. In the 8th century BC, the Kushite kings became powerful enough to conquer Egypt itself. The dynasty they founded, known as the 25th dynasty, ruled as pharaohs, uniting the Nile Valley from Khartoum to the Mediterranean. They restored temples, revived traditions, and left a mark so strong that later Egyptians remembered them as great rulers. It was during this time that pyramid building flourished in Nubia. The Kushites revived the ancient Egyptian custom of pyramid burials, but they reshaped it in their own style. Nubian pyramids are smaller than those of Egypt, typically between 20 and 30 meters tall. Their sides are far steeper, rising at angles of 60 to 70 degrees. They stand in clusters, often crowded together on desert plateaus, creating eerie fields of stone rising from the sand. At Nuri, more than 20 pyramids were built for kings, including Taharqa, one of the greatest rulers of the 25th dynasty. His pyramid, though now ruined, once stood nearly 50 meters tall. At El Kuru, earlier Kushite rulers were buried in subterranean chambers beneath smaller pyramids, decorated with paintings of gods and afterlife scenes. And at Meroë, the later capital of Kush, more than 200 pyramids were constructed over several centuries, making it the most densely packed pyramid field in the world. What makes the Nubian pyramids remarkable is not just their number, but their individuality. Each pyramid was part of a larger mortuary complex, often with a small temple in front where offerings could be made. The burial chambers lay beneath the pyramid, accessed by stairways descending into the bedrock. Many were painted with vivid images of gods, kings, and rituals, scenes meant to guide the deceased into the afterlife. But the mysteries abound. Why so many pyramids built over such a long period in a region often overlooked by mainstream history? The Kushites seemed almost obsessed with pyramid building, far more than the Egyptians, who shifted to other styles of tombs after the Middle Kingdom. Was it a statement of power? A declaration of identity, linking themselves to Egypt's prestige while also asserting something uniquely their own? Unfortunately, many of the Nubian pyramids have been damaged, not only by time, but by human hands. In the 19th century, the Italian adventurer Giuseppe Ferlini blasted open dozens of pyramids at Meroë, searching for treasure. He found some gold and artifacts, but in the process destroyed irreplaceable history. Today, many pyramids stand truncated, their tops blown away, silent scars of greed etched into the desert. Still, much survives. Archaeologists continue to excavate tombs, finding jewelry, pottery, and inscriptions in the mysterious Meroitic script, a writing system used by the Kushites that has never been fully deciphered. Though scholars can read some symbols, the language remains unknown. Imagine hundreds of inscriptions, prayers, and histories carved into stone, waiting for a Rosetta Stone that may never come. What secrets of the Kushite kings lie locked in those words? The city of Meroë itself adds to the mystery. Located between the Nile and the desert, it became the Kushite capital around 300 BC. Here, industry and religion mingled. Iron smelting furnaces filled the air with smoke, giving Meroë the nickname the Birmingham of Africa. At the same time, the pyramids rose in their hundreds, clustering around the royal cemeteries. Unlike the lonely grandeur of Giza, Meroë's pyramids crowd together, row upon row, like a forest of stone peaks. Even in ruin, the effect is haunting. Stand at Meroë at sunrise, and the desert glows orange, the sharp silhouettes of pyramids stretching across the horizon. There is no crowd of tourists, no bustling vendors, only wind, sand, and the silent testimony of a civilization that once rivaled Egypt but is now almost forgotten. Why did the Kingdom of Kush decline? Historians suggest several factors: shifting trade routes, deforestation and overuse of land, invasions by neighbors like Aksum to the east. By the 4th century AD, Meroë was abandoned, its pyramids left to the desert. For centuries they stood, half buried in sand, unknown to the outside world. When European explorers rediscovered them in the 19th century, they were astonished. More pyramids than Egypt, yet almost no one had heard of them. Since then, archaeology has slowly pieced together the story of Kush. But many questions remain. Who were all the rulers buried here? What did the undeciphered inscriptions say about their lives, their gods, their visions of the afterlife? And why, of all the civilizations along the Nile, did the Kushites alone persist in building pyramid after pyramid, long after Egypt had stopped? Some fringe theories go further, suggesting the Nubian pyramids may hold lost knowledge, even connections to civilizations beyond Africa. Mainstream archaeology does not support such claims, but the sheer mystery, the undeciphered language, the unusual designs, the sheer number, invites speculation. The Nubian pyramids are not simply smaller copies of Egypt's. They are their own tradition, part of a culture that deserves recognition in its own right. They remind us that Africa's history is vast, complex, and often overlooked. Today, the pyramids of Meroë are a UNESCO World Heritage Site, protected and studied, but they remain little visited compared to Giza. Few tour buses arrive, few postcards are sold. Yet those who make the journey often describe it as more powerful than standing at Giza. Here, in the quiet of the Sudanese desert, you can stand among dozens of pyramids with no one else around. Feel the sand under your feet, hear the wind, and imagine the Kushite kings who dreamed of eternity. The Nubian pyramids may not have the fame of Giza, but in their silence and strangeness, they carry a power all their own. They speak of ambition, devotion, and mystery. They remind us that history is not just what is written in textbooks, but what endures in stone, waiting for us to notice. And perhaps one day, when the Meroitic script is deciphered, when more tombs are excavated, when the sands give up their secrets, we will understand more of what the Kushites wanted us to know. Until then, the pyramids of Nubia stand as riddles in the desert, guardians of a forgotten chapter of human history. If you enjoyed this journey into the mysteries of the Nubian pyramids, there are countless more secrets waiting in the vault, and together we'll keep uncovering the wonders of the past. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And as always, thanks for watching. Take care.